For over 3 decades, the brutal murder of a teenage girl had been a haunting mystery, leaving investigators baffled and her family in constant fear. But after 31 long years, a shocking truth was finally brought to light, revealing a story of unspeakable horror that would shock the world. Who could have committed such a heinous crime, and what could have driven them to do it? How had they avoided justice for so long, hiding in plain sight? And what dark secrets were uncovered, exposing a web of betrayal and tragedy that nobody could have imagined? If you dare to know the truth, keep watching the video and join us in the heart of darkness. So buckle up, stay tuned, and let us begin. On July 21st of 1989, the body of Fawn Mary Cox, a well-liked sophomore at the high school where she attended, was found in her room. Her gruesome murder had left the whole community in utter disbelief. In spite of the fact that genetic evidence was collected at the scene of the crime, detectives were unable to determine who had killed her for years. But after decades of waiting, the Kansas City Police Department and an FBI office in the area worked together to solve the case and bring Cox's family some measure of peace of mind. In 1989, Cox was killed, and her body was discovered in her room. While attending Northeast High School in Kansas City, Missouri, Jr., Fawn Mary Cox worked as a cashier at the amusement park Worlds of Fun, according to the Kansas City Star. According to the story, she was a drug-free member of the Sheffield Assembly of God Church. The local KCTV5 affiliate reported that after working until 11 p.m. at her Worlds of Fun employment, Cox went home to get some rest before returning to work the next day. Felissa, Cox's sister, claimed that the family dog was angry the night before, but she explained it away by saying that the dog was pregnant. It was summertime when Cox's killer or killers entered her room through an open window, raped her, and then strangled her to death. According to Kansas City Police Department, Sergeant Ben Caldwell, who spoke to KCTV5 about the incident, to pick that home and that window to come in unnoticed and exit undetected, it makes sense that the perpetrator knew Fawn. The Manhattan Mercury reports that Felissa and her mother Beverly Cox discovered Fawn while they were looking for someone else. She said her older sister's alarm was what woke her up each morning. I went over to her, grabbed her by the shoulders and said, "Come on, get up." But she had been gone for a while, Felissa told KCTV5. No charges were ever filed against the 3 men that were arrested. Nonetheless, DNA was collected at the site and was used to identify a suspect, as reported by the Manhattan Mercury in 1989. In the year 2000, the Kansas City Star released a story stating that the family of Cox had contributed $3,000 towards a prize in the event that someone came forward with information that led to the arrest of the person who had killed Cox. It's a well-known fact that monetary wealth can buy a great deal of influence in the underworld. Beverly Cox revealed that she and those closest to her had been keeping their fingers crossed for precisely this kind of outcome. According to the report in the newspaper, the police had already detained a neighbor and 3 suspects who were charged in connection with Fawn's death. However, the authorities stated that they were still investigating the incident. Nevertheless, after DNA testing failed to reveal any conclusive matches, the accusations against them were dismissed. According to a report in the Kansas City Star, the authorities have a strong suspicion that she was killed after an unsuccessful attempt to rob her. Amber Gonzalez, who is Cox's sister, stated that she was hospitalized as a result of her obsession with the case and the tiredness it caused her to feel. She made this statement during an interview with Fox 4. Despite the fact that she's 45 years old at this point, she acknowledges that I looked up to her so much. When she thinks back on it today, I yearn to be just like her in every way. She served as a guardian for me. According to the police, a relative who had been under suspicion for a long time had been identified as the person responsible for the murder. In the year 2000, Detective Jay Thompson of the Kansas City Police Department stated that more recent forensic science could be of use. According to KCTV's 5 reporting, the family is said to have worked tirelessly over the years to get the DNA evidence from the location analyzed. Unfortunately, all of their hard work ended up being for naught in the end. According to the Kent County Police Department, there is no way to circumvent the prohibitively expensive cost of such testing. Whoever killed her either has never been charged with a felony or is no longer living. Caldwell is quoted as saying by the Kansas City Star, "People don't commit their first murder when they're put in difficult situations, and then they vanish into thin air without a trace." The assessment made by Caldwell was demonstrated to be correct. This year, Caldwell has reportedly begun fundraising efforts for a brand new genealogy program, which was first reported on by Fox 4. He went on to say that in order to establish such a fund, it would need hopefully people from the community you know. The official shared that at this time, we are trying our best to collect the money, and that we may conceive some kind of trial program where we may gain additional money and continue it. We are putting in serious effort to achieve our goals. According to Fox 4, over the month of March, they collaborated with the FBI to secure the cash, and the FBI's investigation led them to the conclusion that blood and sperm evidence collected at the location matched those of Cox's cousin. Cox's cousin had lived for the most of the 21 years that had passed since the murder until he passed away in 2006. According to CBS News, her relative, Donald Cox Jr., passed away as a result of a drug overdose that was unintentional. According to Felissa Cox, "It's a comfort knowing there's closure. Even while the questions might not have been answered to our complete contentment, at least we're able to put an end to this part of our lives." Gonzalez said to Fox 4 that she was devastated to discover that a member of the family was involved for the death of her sister, but that she has found closure as a result of this discovery. "I don't have words to adequately convey how I feel. Right now, I am reveling in the utmost contentment that I have ever known in my entire life. At this very moment, I can help but feel an overwhelming sense of joy. This is exactly the kind of happy, normal family life that I have always envisioned for myself," she remarked. But the most significant contribution that the case makes is that it serves as a reminder of the value of human life and the devastation that can be brought to families and communities as a result of acts of violence. This is the most essential thing that the case does. Fawn Cox was a young girl who had a bright future ahead of her, but she was taken from us far too soon. We will miss her. Even while her family will never completely recover from the pain of losing her, they will be able to find some degree of peace in the knowledge that her killer has been identified and will be held accountable for his acts. In conclusion, the story of Fawn Mary Cox's murder and the decades-long search for her killer is a sobering reminder of the significance of justice, the need for continuing investing in forensic technology, and the necessity of tenacity. Additionally, the case sheds focus on the devastation that can be caused to families and communities when violent crime is committed. Even though the identification of Fawn's murderer provides her family with a feeling of finality, it also serves as a terrible reminder that even a single act of senseless violence can have far-reaching consequences.